I don't know what all this trouble is about, but I'm sure it must be your fault.
Hello and welcome to my channel. Thanks for joining me for another build episode. To those of you who follow me, sorry it's been a while, but just been extremely busy. Haven't been able to work on some model kits, but trying to work on something here. So I've gone to a kit that I've had sitting around for a while. And I have here the Bandai 1/12 scale C-3PO and R2-D2 model kit. So here we've got some pieces for 3PO. We've got the base here. It'll have a base for both that will lock together. Here we have one of his legs, his right leg, I believe. Some more internal parts here. Here are some more body parts. On this sprue we have some chest pieces here, some more here. Then we have this other one here which has his arms and legs. And this kit is modeled in color. You'll notice with this here, the color is great. So I'm going to build it out of the box as is, like a end of episode 4 clean. I have this Screamin' kit, which is a quarter scale kit of 3PO as well as R2. And I plan on building these at some point also. These two, when I build these, I'm planning on building them all dirty and weathered and everything like that. The typical way you would see them, like when you first see them on Tatooine. But this kit is going to be totally clean, like the end of episode 4 at the awards ceremony. Some more internal parts here, his wiring and stuff in his waist. Of course we have some decals and some other parts. Instructions. And then here we have the R2-D2 parts. These parts, there's his body obviously modeled in white. The blue parts are all molded and modeled in blue, but I think I'm going to paint those a different blue. I'll get into that at another point. And then here we have all the metallic pieces, and this is molded in a silver metal color, as you can see. I actually like the way it looks. If you look at the dome here, the color of the dome, the sheen of the metal, he's not chrome, but he's just a shiny silver, and I think actually this mold is really good the way it is. So I'm probably going to just use it as is. And then of course we have the base for R2-D2 here. So I'm going to go ahead and start out here with 3PO. You'll see it comes with two heads. This is a totally clean head here. And this head has the famous dent in it that you see in episode 4, and I plan on using that head. So I'm going to go ahead and just start removing the pieces from the sprue that I need here to start building his head. We got the back, we have the center plate, we have the piece for his eyes. We have the actual clear eye pieces here. I'll go ahead and remove those. And then we have the little post that comes out of the top of his head. You see that come out the very top and poke out from this point here over the top of his head. I'll go ahead and get that out of here. And we'll go ahead and start getting this stuff together. So here we have some little things from the sprues left on here. So the first thing I need to do is shave these off with the blade and clean up those edges so that it'll go together nicely. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a blade here and just carefully shave off the little nubs here left over from the sprue and make sure it's nice and clean. And I've gone around all the pieces, cleaned them. So I'll go ahead and put this plate here that goes between the front and back half of the head. And here we have the piece that would be for his eyes. I'm going to drill those out and I'm going to light him up. So I'm going to run wires through here and put LEDs inside there to light up his eyes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drill out this piece here so that I can have some LEDs come through in these. So I'm going to go ahead and drill out the center of both eye sockets here on this piece. And you can see I have them both drilled out, and you can see through there. You can see the little line there. And then these are the little clear pieces that are his actual eyes, and I'm going to attach both of those. Got those on here. Then I'm going to go ahead and just take some Tamiya clear yellow, and I'm just going to go ahead and paint some Tamiya clear yellow right over the top of these clear pieces for his amber eyes. Here we have some neck pieces. This is the piece that will support his head, so his head can rotate around and swivel on this ball here. I'm going to have to run wires through this neck piece, and they're going to have to come out the bottom here. So I'm going to have to do a little drilling and notching of these pieces to allow wires to run through there from the head for the LEDs for his eyes. So you can see these are hollow all the way. I'm going to drill a hole right here and right here on either side, and then make a notch to come through into the center. Although I'm not sure if I'm going to do the center or the side here. I'm going to need to figure that out, but I'll have to run the wires down and probably come out the side. That might be easier. So I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole. You can see I drilled a hole on each side right there. And then I need to notch this out so that I can run the wires from the left eye over to the right side. I'm going to go ahead and just take a blade and just kind of notch out a little trench here for the wires to go through. Then I'm going to drill a hole in this piece here. And I've got that notched out. I got my little hole here for the wires to run through. And here I have an 0402 yellow LED. I'm going to use a yellow LED for both of the eyes, and you can see that lit up there. So I'm just going to take the wires, push it through the sockets here, and out the little holes that I drilled there. And then I'm just going to take my tweezers and pull the wires on through. I got both LEDs inside the eye sockets there. I'm going to take some micro crystal clear, and I have basically glued those in place with micro crystal clear. Then I've run the wire from the left eye across to the right eye and gone through the hole I drilled on the side. And just always double checking. LEDs are still good, they still light up. You always want to make sure that you don't crimp any wires. And then here it is with the eye lenses put over the top, and those look awesome. And then with his mask on, and that looks really nice. Between the yellow LEDs and the clear yellow I did on the lenses, I really like the way that looks. Alright, and then next we got his this little post that sticks out the top of his head. I'm going to go ahead and put that in place. And then here I've notched out on his neck, the neck piece, so that when this piece goes through, there's a little hole in the bottom of this. You can kind of see where I drilled out a hole in the bottom there. There you go. So the wire will run through that notch. I'm going to go ahead and put the wire in through the neck first. Then I'll go ahead and run it through this little hole I drilled in the bottom of this support piece. Then I'll go ahead and run that through the middle of the neck and push that on through. And then I'll push that into the bottom of his head and attach the front face of his head, and there we have his head attached to the neck, and everything is looking and still lighting up and working great, no pinched wires. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the main body portions here and remove those from the sprue. We got the front piece here, and then we have these pieces that go in on either side that are the joints that his arms will attach to, and this is the piece where the lower half of his body will attach to. Got those all together there. Then we're going to go ahead and move on and remove his back here. We got that removed, and these two pieces will just fit together. If I can get them together, they'll fit together like so. You can see here that you can actually see through the body You can see my finger through there, so I should have no problems at all running wires through there. I don't even have to really do any work. So we got his head here. I also put on the little side pieces on either side of his head. And I put on the little side pieces here, the like little bolts on either side of his side as well. Then we have this chest plate that covers these portions here. Go ahead and remove that. And this just snaps right onto the front here. And for the back, we have the pieces that go inside the back there. We have this gold piece, we have this clear piece, and then we have the actual back. This gold plate, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use some Tamiya chrome silver. Most of it is silver except for those little square pieces up at the top and bottom, which are still gold. You can see those are left gold, but the rest of it's silver. I'm going to go ahead and do a wash. Just got some Tamiya German gray here with some water. And I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick wash over all this and just make all the little stuff pop and stand out and give it some depth. And with that done, I'm going to go ahead and I have some Tamiya flat red, and I'm just going to do a little dab of red on a single light on each one of those, and you can see each one has a red light on it. And then this clear plate goes over and covers that up. And then we have the full back piece for his back. You can see this shot from the movie. That's pretty much how his back plate looks. And then we just go ahead and snap this into place here. Get that pushed in. And with that pushed in, we just put on the back plate, and that's how that'll look. I'll probably never take the back plate off, but if I wanted to, I could get in here and pull the back off, and then you'll see those exposed parts there on the back. So I'm going to go ahead and run my wires down through the body here because it was open and I can get them through there. Push them on through. I'm going to push his head into place here. Got his head attached and everything is still working once again. Always test. Always want to make sure none of your wires have been pinched. And then I put that front top chest plate on as well. Then we have these two pieces here which go at the top of his chest and connect to his neck. And I got the one put on there. And I'll go ahead and take the other one and put into place. And you can see both of those pieces are in place on his chest. So we'll go ahead and move on to the waist section where all these wires are. Go ahead and remove these from the sprue and these little red wire pieces here from the sprue. These wires look very clean. They're molded in, but they look really nice. The kit came with these decals that you're supposed to use to go over the wires to color them, but I'm not going to use these decals. That just won't work. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use the decal as a reference, but I'm going to go ahead through and paint all the wires by hand, and I think it'll just look better that way rather than the decals. And I'm just matching the colors as close as I can to what was on the decals, and there's both of the waist pieces with the wires painted up right there. Then I'm going to go ahead and put both of these together and check this out and see what I need to do as far as wiring. And there it is all together. There's also these pieces here that go over the top, some more red wires. Just give it some more depth, they stick out even a little bit further. Then what I've done is I've gone and I've sprayed the whole thing with some flat clear coat so it just looks flat and it doesn't look like shiny plastic and doesn't look fake. I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole here for my wires to come through. Put my wires in there, and I'm going to go ahead and just push this whole waist piece into place into the upper torso, the body here, and snap it in there. Fits really nice and snug. And then I've got his groin and waist area here that I'm going to go ahead and take out. And these little pieces for hinges for the legs. And here we have the front. And then we have these pieces that go on either side that his legs will attach to, and the one in the middle that will attach to his waist. Then when you attach the back side, and there's room on this side for wires to come through, but on this side I'm gonna have to drill a hole because it pinches rather nice and tight together. If I can squeeze it together here, you can see there's no place for the wires to go through on the top, but there is through the bottom there. And then we also have this little gold plate here that goes on the back, lower back portion here. So I've gone and I've drilled a hole, you can see here, through the top, and then you can just run the wires out the bottom there through the leg portion, the joint. I'm going to go ahead and run my wires down, pull them on through the bottom, and push the two pieces together. And as usual, I test, no wires are pinched, everything is working. So we're going to move on to the arms here, which will be a little bit of an easier part of the kit. We have the little pieces here that connect the arms together, little ball and socket pieces. Those go together. Then we have this little piece that goes here. This is the other half. They just squeeze together. And there we have the arm. And this is the movable arm. It comes with fixed arms or movable, and I'm doing the movable arm. We have his hand here with the palm section that just pushes into place here and snaps in. And then the hand pushes into the forearm, and then we have the shoulder piece. And then we also have this little piece that attaches to the top of the hand here, like so. And of course the hand rotates and moves. The arm will move on this shoulder piece. It's a ball joint that fits into the body. And then again, these move. And just like magic, both arms are now fully assembled and completed. So I'll go ahead and put the arms on. Start with the left arm here, push it into place, and then we'll attach the right arm. Snap that right into place. And with these, you can pretty much kind of pose them any way you really want. So now we're going to move on to the legs. We have the knee area here. Put these together first. And there's the knee piece. This black portion attaches to the thigh. The other piece attaches to the lower. So here's the thigh. Got that together. And then we have the lower half of the leg. Got that together. And we just push the thigh on and the lower leg onto the knee, and you can see how that bends there at the joint. Then we got his foot. Just pushes onto the bottom there, and that can rotate and move around. We also have the other side of the knee with this little piece that sticks in there, and we attach that, and there's the full assembled leg. On the back of the leg we have some wires here. This time I actually am going to use the decal because they're not hardly going to be seen. So I'm going to go ahead and attach the decal to the back here. And it's such a small piece, and the way the leg, the upper half and lower half of the leg fits over it, there's not much visible. You can see there's very little. And it actually looks pretty decent actually with the decal on there. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach the left leg to 3PO and push that into place here. And as I'm sure most of you know, 3PO's right leg, the lower half anyway, was silver. So this is the lower half of the leg and the foot, and then the knee piece here. All of this should be silver based on episode 4. So with this gold-plated plastic, I found if you use alcohol, you can rub the gold off and it will leave it a nice shiny silver underneath. So I'm going to go ahead with a swab here, and I'm just going to start rubbing all these pieces with some alcohol and remove all the gold plating. And you can see there how it's nice and silver after removing all the gold plating just by rubbing it with some alcohol. And I've gone ahead and I've done the entire lower half of the right leg, the feet, the shins and calf, and his knee area here. For the thigh, I cut a trench out on the side here for the wires to come through. There you can see the trench right there for the wires to come through from the waist. And then they'll go through this little trench here on the side and then into the lower leg. So I've taped the wires in there to hold it in place so I can put the two halves of the leg together. Push those together so the wires aren't pinched. Then I'll go ahead and pull the wires through and attach the upper thigh portion of the leg to the body. Quick test, everything's working, no pinched wires. The knee, in this section here, I've trenched out the middle so that the wires will run through there. I'm going to go ahead and actually let the wires run through the outside, the back side of the knee. Since there's wires there anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let the wires run through the outside and then curve back in and go through this portion here inside. And you can see how that looks there. So there's actually some exposed wires on the back side of that one leg there. Then I'm going to go ahead and also do a trench here on the lower portion of the leg for some wires. I'm going to cut out this middle section here for the wires to travel through. Push this together and take a quick look at it, and you can see there's a gap where at the bottom here next to that piece where the wires can come through. So I'm going to go ahead and run my wires through one half of that and then carefully put the other half on top and snap them together. And my wires are coming out the bottom there of the ankle. And I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole through the foot for the wires to run next to the joint of the foot. You can see the hole run through the top portion there right by the ankle. And then I got a hole in the sole of the foot right there for the wires to come through. And I've got the wires running through the foot here. I'm going to go ahead and push the upper part of the foot into place and carefully not pinch the wires, and then go ahead and push the sole on. And there we have the wires running through the entire body, and everything works and lights up like I planned. For the hands, these palms, those little square pieces are supposed to be gold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my gold paint pen, and I'm going to go ahead and carefully just graze each one of those and just mark them up with the gold. And you can see those are put into place there on his arms. I was trying to paint the pistons on the back and front of the arm where he bends, but they just do not look good. You know, that's gold there. These look like crap. So I went ahead and I attached the fixed arms, which are all gold, and they'll work just fine. Moving on to the base here. 3PO will be mounted here, wires will go through underneath. I plan on powering 3PO with my usual micro USB little power board here. So I need to cut out on the back side so that you can plug a USB cable into this power board to power 3PO and R2. So I'm just going to go ahead and notch out a little bit here. Clean it up, and there's where the board will stick out the bottom back so you can plug a cable in. I've also trenched around here for the cables. When they come through from the bottom of 3PO's foot, they can run through the trenched areas here down to the USB power board. So I'm going to go ahead and mark roughly with this blade where the wires are going to go into the base. Go ahead and remove 3PO. I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole here with my blade. And the wires are going to run through here. I'm going to put the resistors in this area roughly. So I've got my power board here. I've already soldered the positive and negative on there. So I'm going to go ahead and put a drop of hot glue here on the base. And go ahead and put a little glob of that there. And then I'm going to take my USB power board and I'm just going to push it into place right on top of that hot glue. And with it squirting up through those big holes there, that'll be plenty to hold this power board in place when you plug and unplug a cable into it. You can see that there, it's already starting to harden up. So there it is in place. You can see I can plug a cable in, snaps in nice and snug. Doesn't move the board at all when you plug or unplug it. So I also need a trench on the side here where R2's board is going to go. It's going to be on this side right here. So there needs to be a wire going between the two to power up R2. So I need to go ahead and notch out here for wires to go through. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with the blade here. This piece connects both of their bases together. You can see here I've got both of them connected together. But still need my wires to run through here as well. So I've gone ahead and I've notched out the center of that piece that connects both bases together. I'm going to go ahead and push this onto C-3PO's base right now. And you can see right through there, the hole going all the way through. And that'll go right through into R2-D2's base. And then I've also trenched out the other side of R2's base so that the wires can come through and go into R2's base with no problem. You can see through there right there. So with that in place, I'm going to go ahead and glue it and secure that down with some Tamiya thin cement. I'm going to put a switch here. So some wires are going to run through this trench to the switch. Here are my two resistors. I'm going to go ahead and actually glue those here. So I'm going to put a little drop of hot glue there, push these two resistors there, let those dry in place. Here's a positive wire going to my power board, and that's running over to the other side here for the switch, and the other side will run back to the resistors, which will run to the positive of the model, and ground will run over here. So I've notched out for my little switch. Here's my switch. And that's going to fit right down inside here. Like so. Go ahead and hot glue that into position here. And then with that glued into position, let that dry. You can move the switch back and forth, no problem. It's nice and secure. I've got C-3PO's wires coming through here where his foot is. I'm going to go ahead and secure him down on the base here. Push his left foot into this little cutout notched area. Carefully and hold him into position. Then I'm going to take some of my Tamiya extra thin cement and I'm just going to run around his left foot here and secure that down and glue it into place. Then I'm going to take some regular old super glue and put a glob of it underneath his right foot and hold that into place. And he's dried and secured. Wires are coming out the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and put some solder on both of the resistors here. So we've got the positive wires going to the resistors. We have the ground wire going to the power board, then the positive going to the switch back to the resistors. Plug in our USB cable, give a little flick of the switch, and he lights up just fine. So that completes this episode of the build. Next episode I'll move on to building and lighting R2-D2 and put the two of them together, and that should be it. So I'd like to thank you for joining and watching. Hey, if you like watching my videos, please feel free to give them a like. And so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos, click subscribe.